Welcome to Cooking with the Browns, Emergency Boosting of Immune System Edition. So without going shopping, we're going to use what we have in the house to make a chicken soup with the goal of boosting everyone's immune system. So I'm starting with chicken breast, and it's still frozen, which is fine for what we're doing here. So I added, you see the yellow there, it's turmeric, which is a spice that's really good for your immune system. So we're going to just boil this chicken with half water, half vegetable broth, and the chicken itself. We're going to bring it to a boil. We're going to simmer it until we get the internal temperature of that chicken up to 165. Probably, in all honesty, we're probably going to get up to like 180, 190. Then we are going to be cooking some onion and some garlic in a separate pan, which I have ready on the stove here. I still have to cut my veggies, but we'll get that going, and we're going to get those nice and translucent. And the pan itself, we're going to do it in a little bit of oil, so the pan itself will have lots of good flavors in it, which will then transfer this into and to continue cooking. At that point, we're going to keep it on a real slow simmer all day, and we're going to add the veggies that we have available. Unfortunately, I don't have any celery, which I would really like to add to this, but we're going to overload it on garlic. This is some turmeric in here, but we're going to add more turmeric in there as well. So we'll overload it on garlic. We'll have the turmeric. I'm going to put some carrots in there. I'm also going to do some additional research on what spices I might have here in the house, what stuff I might have on hand, because we're not going back to a store. So we're going to use what we have to make the best possible immune system boosting chicken soup. That's the plan, and we'll be back to keep you posted with our progress. All right, we're back, and at this point we just turned the heat on here to bring this chicken and broth and water mixture to a boil. So what I found that I had in the pantry here is 32 ounces of vegetable broth. So I added this into it. Then I filled this up with water completely to the top to do another 34 ounces of water. So because I did the additional 34 ounces of water, and because this is boneless, skinless chicken breast and not like a full chicken or chicken thighs or something I can get more flavor out of, we're not going to get a ton of chicken flavor. So since I have 32 ounces of water, I added 2 chicken bouillons. Now normally you would add 1 per every 8 ounces, which would be 4. But I added 2 because we are going to get some chicken flavor. So we got that going. We're going to get it boiling here, and then we're going to just let it simmer until we get our chicken fully cooked, and at which point we can move on to the next step. And we'll be back to show you that. All right, we are back, and we are at a full rolling boil here. So we're going to shut down this burner, and I got my simmer burner turned on, so we're just going to move this back there, and then we're going to continue simmering it. At the same time, we have cut up a bowl of garlic here, so that's ready to go. Chris is working on the onion. What do you call it? Onions, honey?
Green onions.
The green onion, chives, whatever you want to call it. She's working on cutting those up right now, and I do have learned a tip recently. So I have our onions that we're going to be cutting up. Where are they? In the freezer there. I learned a tip. I tried it and it actually worked. I usually tear up pretty bad when I'm cutting onions. So they say just freeze it for a little bit. I usually do about 15-20 minutes. I don't remember what they said, to be honest. But I freeze it for about 15 to 20 minutes before I cut the onion. I can cut 4, 5, 6 onions and it doesn't affect me. It starts to affect me maybe towards the very end of that, but typically towards the end of 1 onion, and I'm a mess. So that's a good tip for anyone who suffers through that like me. But we'll be back and continue on with this chicken soup. All right, we're back. We have our onions started. We're just going to get those translucent, at which point we are going to add some garlic that we have here and some chives. We do have our chicken. It is ready to eat at this point. We're going to be able to break that apart nicely, and that'll be our chicken and our base for the rest of this. We're actually going to get out a bigger pan, it looks like, because I think we're going to be making a lot more than we expected with these ingredients, which is fine. We're going to add some carrots. Luckily, we had some carrot sticks, so those will be easy. Just chop them up a little bit and throw them in there. We'll have some nice carrots in there. And then our research indicated that broccoli is very good for the immune system. So we don't have any fresh, but we do have this bag of broccoli, so we're going to add that. Again, this is making do with what we had without having to go to the grocery store. So between the garlic, the turmeric, the broccoli, the chicken itself, we have the makings of good immune system boosting chicken soup. I'm going to freeze some in the event that anybody does get sick. We'll have some available, and we're going to eat some today for lunch. So, and I'll probably save enough in the fridge for lunch for the next couple days. So we'll get our immune system nice and boosted up. We'll have some in the freezer on hand for if anyone does get sick. If any of my extended family gets sick, I could bring them over some as well. So that's where we're at in the process here. Chris is cutting up those carrots. We're just going to wait for these onions to get where they need to be. We'll get everything mixed up into one big pot, and then we'll bring you back on to check out our progress. Just wanted to jump back on and show you guys, because after we left the video here, I started kind of shredding the chicken, and just want to show you how nicely that shreds in there. So you'll know, that you've simmered it long enough when you see that, the chicken's just falling apart there, which is, you want smaller shreds, obviously, for your soup. So Chris is going to shred that up. Then we're going to be able to add our vegetables and our carrots. Our vegetables and our vegetables. And then we'll keep this thing simmering all day. My family likes it better if I can make those carrots real soft and almost non-existent, right? So that's what we'll do, and really all the benefits are going to be in the broth. So we'll continue on, and again, we'll check back in. Checking in again here, and we got the onions are just the way I wanted them, so I added in the chives and the garlic, which won't be in here very long at all. 2-3 minutes, I'll stir that around, and then I'll get it added in where we shredded up our chicken. Just want to show you something else I like to do too. I always add a couple small whole onions. I'll pop that right in there. I got another one coming up, and that'll obviously add a lot of good flavor and nutrients to the broth. But more importantly, I do this anytime I cook like a red sauce or anytime I do a soup, because once everything's done cooking, that onion's mine. My family has no interest in it, but I do, and I'll just eat that onion. I like it a little bit better, honestly, when you're doing a pasta sauce, but this works as well. So that onion will be delicious flavor, and after soaking in here for many hours, and it's going to add nutrients to our soup, and it's going to give me an onion to eat. So I just wanted to show you that in case you have any onion fanatics in your family, or you are one yourself. You might already be doing something like this, but that's how I like to do it. All right, we've transferred to our big pot here, which we normally only break out when we're doing chili. But we got it broken out for the soup. So we got the chicken broken up nicely in there. I did add the onions and garlic into there. There's going to be additional garlic added in just a moment. We have our pan. Okay, we're not going to let that go to waste. So that's a lot of delicious flavor down in there. So I got some chicken broth here, which we're going to add. We're going to add this whole carton in, but we'll just use a little of it right now. At the bottom here, I'll turn the flame back on low, kind of mix this up and make sure we get all of that flavor from the onions. So we get that turned back on. And that's an important step, because you cook those onions in here, see that it comes off the bottom of the pan, adds to your flavor. We're not going to lose any flavor, so we'll work on that for a few minutes. In the meantime, we're going to get our carrots put into there, and some additional broth. I got some additional bouillon in case we do need to add some water, and we're gonna make a decision on what we want to do with this broccoli, and we'll get this next step so that we can slow cook this all day. But there goes our carrots, and personally, I like them cut up a lot bigger than this. I like them hearty, but we have sons and picky eaters, so we cut them up nice and small. There's a couple bigger chunks, and those ones we'll avoid putting in our son's bowls so that nobody. So I'm not eating it, But actually, to be honest, our sons are pretty good about it. So there we go. We'll check back in. All right, we're moving on with. We got the carrots added, the broccoli added in there. Just want to show you what we're doing for seasoning. So as you know, we had some turmeric root powder going with the chicken. We've added some additional in here. I used the last of my bay leaves. I put a couple bay leaves in there. We have basil. Put a bunch of basil in there. We put some Italian seasoning in there. Garlic powder. And onion powder. I am going to look, I know we got the Italian seasoning in there, but I am going to look deeper in my cupboard here and see if I can find some parsley and some oregano. Oh, and I do have a new canister of bay leaves ready. Oh, look at that, always prepared. So I think we got enough for in there right now. But yeah, so I'm going to dig in here, and I haven't added any salt and pepper yet. We're going to do that. Oh, found some parsley. That's a winner. So we'll throw some parsley in there. Looking for some oregano still. So I'm sure I have hidden deep in here somewhere. All right, so we'll continue on. All right, quick check-in, just so I don't forget. I forgot, I added a bunch of ground ginger because that is good for your immune system. I didn't put too much so that it's going to be an overwhelming flavor, but I added enough so that it's going to help with the whole thing. I did find parsley that I added. Unfortunately, I didn't find any oregano, so I've added parsley because I used the rest of it, and oregano to my shopping list. All right, we'll continue on and check back in. Unless I think of anything else, this should be our last check-in before the taste test here. But added quite a bit of water, a little bit of bouillon. We do have some concentrated chicken stock that I know we're going to be adding in here after our taste test. But we added quite a bit of water because we really didn't have that much broth, and these vegetables and are going to help make a good flavorful broth, not to mention a lot of the seasonings that I have in there as well. So there we are. We're going to slow cook it. It's all stirred in. Slow cook it for a few hours here, and then we'll do actually, let's see, it's 10 o'clock. Probably only about 2 hours before we taste it. At least see where we're at, see what we want to add and where we want to go. I think we have a good ratio right now of broth to veggies and chicken, and so we should be good in that regard. I know a lot, some of this broth is going to cook down, so if we need to add more, we'll add more. So we'll check back in with the taste test and see how it comes out. All right, we've been slowly simmering for a while here, so we're gonna just take the tiniest bit out of here, give it a little taste. I know I'm gonna have to add to it, but just want to see what we're looking at there. It's lunchtime and I need to eat something anyway, so we'll take a little taste of that. We got some chicken and some broccoli and some broth in there, so take a little taste, see where we're at, what we need to potentially add. gonna be hot, of course. But I can already tell just from looking at it, like the broth is very watery. You know, I'm gonna need to add some more flavoring into this. The house smells amazing though, and that tastes amazing. It's very good. I am gonna add. I'll show you. I believe it's in here. Yeah. Flavored chicken soup base. So I believe typically you add like 2 teaspoons of this stuff. Maybe for 8 ounces. It tells us somewhere. 2 teaspoons for a cup. Yeah. So I'm probably gonna add. I mean, it has a lot of flavor, so I don't know. I'm gonna add some. Actually, probably maybe 2 tablespoons. Let it cook a little bit longer. We decided we're not eating it for lunch. We're gonna eat it for dinner. So I'll add a little bit of that and I'll let it keep going. But that's pretty much it. We did it. We accomplished our mission. Whoa, we're gonna eat some. We're gonna freeze some. I'll keep it slow cooking until dinner time here. So that is cooking with the Browns. Unplanned chicken soup. Just using what we got. So I hope that helps somebody. And again, if anybody has any tips for us, feel free to put them in the comments because we're always learning here.